It's really amazing and also humbling. So this has been the culmination of about a decade of work, again, with an amazing team that's grown from very small to now quite large, and seeing the technology validated, coming up from the concept all the way through with a very sort of operational focus to develop some technology that actually works in the real world right now. And to move on to build a full-scale aircraft that's going to change the way we move around the planet. It's awesome. Couldn't be happier.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another HOVR live stream. Today, we are live with your co-host, Anthony, and special guest today joining us, Death Smiles from the Reddit that you guys know him as Death Smiles. We will keep his name disclosed, I guess. But Death Smiles is also a HOVR evangelist and knows quite a lot about HOVR, especially when it comes to the facts, the numbers. And I like to talk more from a macro perspective, but we're going to get into the details today with Death Smiles. He's got a lot of information for us on the whole dilution front of things that we want to discuss about. So the big news of the week with HOVR, we got a $20 million possible dilution cash going into their hands, which may look bad, but is also good. So we're going to dive into a little bit about that shortly. That's second on the agenda. As you guys can see now, from now on, the agenda is down below. But there's a lot more to each thing. Each agenda piece has quite some information to it. Like we have a big miscellaneous bite-sized news section there. There's a lot to talk about over there. But anyways, let's just start right with something a little morbid, aviation news of the week. So I want to start doing a little bit of aviation news because there's always, I know we're talking about eVTOL, but aviation is, a little bit complementary to our industry. And it's just good to know what's going on. Last week, we spoke about Spirit Airlines. That was the big news of the week. There's always something going on in the space. So this week, there were two pretty horrible and morbid crashes. Do you guys know about what went on this week, actually?
Yeah, one thing on that, it's actually kind of astonishing how obviously news is usually bad news because bad news is what sells. But it's funny that all the aviation news we get on Earth a lot of times is bad news. And it's kind of funny, like mathematically speaking, the pressure's building up and the aviation industry is definitely primed for some good news. That's where we come in. HOVR.
Yes. Well, there's actually good news quite sometimes. We like to talk about, last time we spoke about all the new types of different interesting aircrafts. But of course, I guess when we're talking about commercial airplanes, there's not much innovation and new stuff going on. But honestly, it's interesting to see, because if you remember the last time we spoke about how safe it is, and that these airplanes are rated at like a 1 in 100 years to get in a crash. And it's crazy. We have more than one every year. So it is quite an anomaly to see something like this happen. But this here was in Newark Airport in New Jersey. United plane hit a truck. Interestingly enough, 12 hours after this happened, I flew in a United airplane to the same airport here in Newark, which is quite crazy to think about. Obviously nothing happened to the passengers, but the driver actually, I think he survived. It just, he got quite hurt. But really quite a crazy, thing to happen. Imagine you're just freaking driving on the highway and a freaking plane hits you out of nowhere, really. So yeah, just some minor news. I just wanted to highlight that. Anthony didn't know when I brought it up to him, so I figured maybe something worth sharing. Maybe other people don't know. And one more thing before we move on to HOVR. I know that's what everyone's here for, really. But we also have Frontier Airlines, which is quite interesting. Frontier Airlines is kind of like worse than Spirit perceived as. And last year we spoke about Spirit, how they went down. Not good news for Frontier Airline. They literally struck a person on the runway. Now, it wasn't really their fault. The person shouldn't have been there, of course. I don't know if this video shows. Well, actually, there is no video of the crash because it was just there. I guess there was no video, and it's quite horrific. But there is this crazy image of what the look at the engine. What happened? Really crazy looking. I think so. I don't know. Have you guys seen this image? I think it was shared in the chat, but
yeah, I've seen it. It's pretty.
I wanted to also share real quick this video. Have you guys ever seen actually what happens when a man goes inside a jet engine? Should have had this prepared. Sorry, give me just half a second. So it's
horror week, or what's going on?
Is it what? Sorry.
Is it horror week? Doing Halloween today, or what is this?
Yeah, I usually don't search those type of videos. They're not morbid enough for me. I like murder sex videos personally.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, no, it just, like Anthony said, aviation news is just quite morbid, but I was just going to share this in the background while I was talking about it, but pretty crazy. So, I mean, you literally just get disintegrated, shredded like shredded meat. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, this is just a little fun video to imagine what happened over here. Honestly, it's quite crazy. These engines should usually completely eat the person up. This one actually caught on fire and the engine got really fucked up, as you can see. But yeah, I guess enough about this morbidness. I don't know. First time sharing aviation news.
All right, do-over.
That didn't go well, so we'll
do-over. Welcome to Matan Show today, everybody. We got Matan on the microphone, dropping the beautiful videos for the people. Very excited, confidence high, to quote Mr. Brandon Robinson, confidence high, stock looking beautiful. And over to you, Matan.
Yeah, well, I want to add that as a segment. Maybe I thought if you guys don't like it, we'll remove that. But we'll get into HOVR right now. Ben, haven't seen you in a while. Ben, thanks for joining. HOVR, we'll definitely get to HOVR. Awesome to see you. Rezo, I feel like I'm seeing Rezo every week now. Thanks for joining, Rezo. Awesome to see you. The pilot is going to be in some trouble probably. For United, yes, they already got fired. That should not have happened. That was a horrible accident. I don't know about the Frontier one because that one is a complete mistake and that person should not have been there. But Paul O'Brien, welcome. Thanks. Good to see you. Deke Jackson, you as well. Nice. All the regulars are here. Anyways, we'll move on to HOVR. That's what people want to know. More work means more money means more HOVR shares. So it has uses. Yes. All right. Let's get into that. That's what we have Death Smiles here for. Sorry. Let me fix the cameras all over the place here. All right. HOVR $20 million Dilution Delusion. So we were talking about Death Smiles actually, I think, brought up that phrase, Dilution Delusion. And because I guess the perception is this isn't good.
Well, no, it was because when I was texting him, I kept spelling it wrong because of my voice text. So he was laughing at me saying every time I say dilution, I say delusion. And then I saw how irrational everybody was about it. So then I told him he was the inspiration for the title.
There you go. So Death Smiles has a few things he wants to share about this, clear things up for us because on the first thought, it seems a little bit what's going on here. I also wasn't sure, to be honest. So, hello, Death Smiles.
How you doing?
What's up? What's going on with HOVR?
Yeah, so I mean, basically, a lot of people hear the word dilution and they start to panic. I mean, they treat dilution like it's bearish, toxic. It's the death of the stock, right? But that's not really how the sophisticated capital markets work. There's a massive difference between destructive dilution and strategic dilution. People kind of lump them together as if they're the same thing, but they're not. When people hear share offering, they picture a company dumping endless shares into the market, because they're desperate for cash, but because they can't sustain their operations, or maybe management is exploiting the shareholders, or because there's no institutional confidence. I mean, red flag after red flag. I mean, that absolutely happens in the market, but that's not what we're talking about here. Like, what we're discussing is a shelf offering. It's tied to institutional participation. Potentially strategic participation, where a major investor group steps in and they acquire a meaningful ownership position in the company. I mean, that changes the entire equation. And that's kind of why I posted, the new share counts with the whole Reddit poll on, Reddit lately. So, I mean, if an institution is stepping in and taking roughly a 16% position in a company, that's not random retail dilution. That's not day traders flipping shares. It's not weak money. It's concentrated ownership. And people need to understand what that means structurally. First, yes, technically the share count goes up. It increases. That's true. There's nobody denying that at all. It's plain as day. But markets are not just math equations based on how many shares there are. Markets are about confidence, access to capital, strategic validation, runway, institutional sponsorship, future growth potential. I mean, the reason growth companies dilute is because growth costs money. Especially in aerospace, advanced aviation, hybrid propulsion, VTOL development, manufacturing expansion, certification pathways, engineering testing, scaling your operations. It all requires money. So, like, the real question isn't not like, did the dilution happen, right? The real question is, what kind of dilution happened? Because there's a big difference between them. There's toxic convertible financing, endless at the market selling, and strategic institutional accumulation. Those are completely different situations. Now let's talk about the float misconception. A lot of retail traders look at dilution and they think more shares exist, therefore more selling pressure, right? But that assumes that those shares immediately enter active circulation. And that's not true. When a large institution acquires a major position, especially around a 10, 15, 20% range, those shares often become far less liquid than retail held shares. Now, why is that? That's because institutions don't usually deploy tens of millions of dollars just to flip a stock tomorrow for 5 cents. Large funds, strategic investors, and long duration capital allocators basically enter their positions because they believe in a larger thesis. They believe in the thesis that I believe in, right? Future valuation expansion, industry positioning, technology leadership, acquisition potential, military applications, aerospace partnerships, certification milestones, or future listing and institutional adoption. I mean, that capital is often in strong hands. So the ironic thing is, what retail calls dilution can sometimes reduce the effective tradable float because shares move from weak retail hands into the concentrated institutional ownership. That's the part that most people completely fucking miss. Now, this does not mean every offering is bullish. No, not at all. There are terrible offerings in the market every fucking day. But some companies dilute endlessly. No progress, no roadmap, no institutional conviction, no operational execution. But sophisticated investors analyze context. Who bought the shares? What price did they pay? How is the deal structured? What was the strategic reason? How large was the position? And what does that really signal to the overall market? Because institutions perform due diligence that retail traders just cannot. It's just, I can't do what they can do, right? But if serious capital is willing to absorb a massive percentage of a company, that tells you something. And in speculative sectors like advanced aerospace, VTOL development, survival, and scaling matter more than temporary dilution percentages. The market honestly cares about, can the company survive? Can they execute? Can they certify? Can they manufacture? Can they attract partnerships? Can they scale? And can they eventually dominate the future market? That's what institutions are in for. That's what they're evaluating. And another thing people misunderstand is that institutional participation itself can become a major catalyst. Now, why is that? Because institutional ownership increases legitimacy. It changes your perception. It can attract analyst coverage, additional funds, strategic partnerships, media attention, a broader market confidence. I mean, retail traders often chase momentum after the institutions have already established their positions, not before, right? Now, none of this means that the risk is gone. None of the risk disappears. It's still speculative aerospace. There's execution risk, there's certification risk, there's a macro risk, there's financing risk. But pretending that all dilution is automatically bearish, it's an oversimplification that genuinely ignores how real capital formation works in emerging industry. Like, the real irony is that many of the biggest growth companies in history diluted heavily during their expansion phases. The key difference was whether or not the capital raised actually accelerated the company toward a larger value. That's the real discussion people should be having. Not it's dilution, it's bad. No, man. It's what is the purpose of the capital? Who's providing it? And what does that signal about the company's future? Because strategic institutional ownership is fundamentally different from panic financing. And people who understand that distinction are seriously operating levels ahead of everybody else. We're in it early. Institutions are just starting to get in big. They're going to get in more. HOVR, you better own it, period. Straight up. I'm done.
Mic drop. Crack the floor.
My fucking heart is racing right now. I'm just like, oh, yeah.
I felt the passion.
That was really good, bro. That was really good.
Yeah, Rad Hard Tech or Crispy agrees with you. He says 100,000% dilution is a measure of capital.
You know what's interesting too? Just like Brandon said, when we're gonna play that clip in a little bit, but I think it's in that clip, but it might not be. They're all just like a data in my mind now. But remember, he said people think they know things, but they actually feel things. They don't analyze things from first person, analysis or 1-point analysis, right? And it's like that knee jerk reaction. Because check this out, you got to scale. To the degree emotions go up is to the degree analytical thought goes down, right? So like people get this emotional thing to dilution, get scared, hit the sell button. But the people that can actually maintain their position in space and see through all that stuff with zero emotion, they analyze it like you were saying, and they actually see that it's a good thing. You just can't, you know what I mean? Because look at it. When that thing diluted, it rose right back up like the Phoenix. That thing was awesome.
Basically, everybody got shook out. Everybody was like, oh, dilution. And then you read the fine print and you realize, I'm going to take advantage of these guys. They're dropping all their shares for nothing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right back up. So don't worry. We got the 2 days of the short sale restrictions, Thursday and Friday, right? Because it literally triggered as soon as we opened Thursday morning. We were already way down over the under 10% limit, right? And then that carried over automatically to Friday. So now the shorts have only been selling on upticks for 2 solid days. Now, if we keep going up from here, what choice do they have? None. The squeeze is coming, dude. And I've been watching and waiting, and it's time. I started calling it like a month and a half ago when I said, hey, it's $1.59, guys. Time to get in, start loading them up. And now I'm to the point where if you don't get in right now, you're going to start chasing this thing. And you don't want to be in the middle of the chase. You're just going to have to sit back and wait, let it all happen, and then wait for your entry later.
Yeah, and something Mark Berry said one day about 2 months ago, I thought about it this morning. He said, you get into HOVR and you got a nice entry price, and then it keeps doing what it's doing. And then as they hit their milestones, they, in the correct magnitude, do something with some sort of adding shares. But if it goes down a few percent or whatever, it doesn't matter to you because you've been in for so long and you're just riding this logical ride forward of that's these pre-revenue companies exchange with us. They're not running a charity. Just like Brandon said, do you trust the guys in the driver's seat? Is it a good program, ethical program? We make our milestones. They do what they got to do on their administrative end with the stock. And we just push up, pull back a little bit, push up, pull back a little bit. And it's like the shakeout, the tree, it gets different as it goes because the conviction stays high.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically the transition that we're going to get to starting to stair step is my personal opinion. We've had a rocky road. We had, Christmas in 2024 where we had this big anticipation that, we had somebody getting in at $2 a share and everybody got excited. But then when the real paperwork actually came out, Kanzo was paying 50 cents a share. So everybody was like, oh, no. But, dude, it's coming out now that these people getting in, their bottom price was what, $2.15, $2.16? Well, we went right down to that level, and anybody that could get it in for a penny under them, any institution took it, honestly.
Scooped.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer at that point.
Didn't they overpay? Wasn't it?
Loaded up. They're in it for the long haul. If you want a good position in a long company, you want to be there first.
Was it you that told me the day that they made the deal or whatever, the stock was like at 170 something, but they said they would pay 216, 217. So didn't they close the deal for actually higher than the share price? Now, granted, they could obviously time the momentum and see like tomorrow it's probably going to go up because it's extremely bullish, but still the sign is the sign.
Yeah, exactly. They were willing to pay a premium at the time. We got out of control. And basically in that out of control rush, Horizon was like, oh shit, like we need to get this information out right now and over with because we can't drop this. Because what did I say last time? I said, hey guys, my daughter bought in at 4. She didn't know any better, but at this point in the game, we got to protect both sides. Like, we don't want people buying in too high and having to get shooken out. And I told my daughter, hey, just hold on, buy more when it drops. She bought it $3. She bought it $2.50. And then when it was $1.50, she called me and she's like, Dad, I'm thinking about buying another 500 shares. It's down pretty low, and I think it's going to go up. And I said, sweetheart, I literally just posted something yesterday that was telling everybody it's at $1.59 and to buy it. I said, honestly, buy it. And this is my blood, man. Like, I'm not out there trying to pump something. I own it. My family owns it. I have a lot of friends that own it. My poker buddies own it.
Yeah.
I mean, I got colleagues I work with all the time. I have clients that I've turned on to it that own it. Like I'm not in this for a quick buck, bro. I've been here for a while and I'm sticking with this.
We're like some financial apostles. You know what I'm saying? We're just spreading the good news. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to help people raise inflation, financial freedom.
I genuinely feel privileged that I was able to find this company as early on as I did. I mean, to have I have a few thousand shares at 26 cents. I have a few thousand shares at 30 cents. I got shares in ranges all the way up to like $1.80, I think. I've got them all over the place. I started buying 2 years ago when it was $1.50. It went down to 24 cents. I kept buying it. I had conviction. I kept digging and digging. It was so hard to find anything about the company back then. At that point, it was partially blind faith and partially research, right? And then as the more conviction came in there and the more the facts came out, the more I was convinced I need to own more of this.
Mm-hmm. And
it went from owning a couple hundred shares to owning thousands of shares to owning tens of thousands of shares, So, and at this point, I don't own anything else anymore. I made plenty of money on Celestica. I made plenty of money on Rolls-Royce. And I made good money in dividends on CESDF. I made good decisions. And I decided in all that this decision was better than all those, even though I'm 3 times here and 10 times over there or whatever. The amount of runway that Horizon has ahead of them with such a small market cap. Once Celestica goes from 4 billion or 5 billion market cap to 50 billion, well, then what? Once Nvidia is at 5 trillion, like, what are you guys thinking? It's going to triple? Like, come on. Like, there's no more runway left. I want the runway. And this has the biggest runway and the strongest team out of anything on the market. Like, hands down, like, pound the fucking table, man. And like I said, everybody in my family owns it. All my friends own it, and I can't say enough good things about it. Sorry, a little bit.
That was beautiful. I knew you was taking them to church today, Dead Smiles. I knew you was.
A little bit, man. I got some passion in me.
No, I'm on the same wavelength, bro. I was buying during the media blackout period too. I got 20,000 shares at 46 cents, 50 cents. I got 10,000 at $1. I got 20,000 at $1.50. Yeah, I'm fucking right there with you, bro.
Crispy asked, was the warrant structure attached?
Yeah, there's something like what is it? Titan.
We got it right there.
Deal, and they're getting like 250,000 warrants upon executing the deal, but then they aren't allowed to do a single thing with them for at least 6 months. So those are locked up. And then the deal with the institutional shares or whatever's going at the 9.25 million, most likely those are going to be locked up definitely for a certain amount of time, but the length of time is not going to be known until we actually get the filing in black and white. So I would suggest, with the amount of money being put in there, that it's not a 6-month deal, bro. It's 5-10 year. It's long term.
Yeah. What was the thing, Death Smiles, with the 6? I remember I saw something about 6,000 warrants at $2.50. Was that part of that, or was that something else?
6,000. Oh no, it's so the strike price of the warrants that Titan's getting is $2.57, I believe. Hopefully, I got that number right on the money.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they're in the money once our stock is past 257. And they can exercise, right? So it's almost like in 6 months' time, they're just going to have a free 250,000 shares. I mean, that's what I would do if I was them and I was convinced, right? And I'm sure if they do the same due diligence that we've been doing, they're going to be equally convinced. Now, these hedge funds, they do whatever. And Brumder, he's already shown his colors, right? Like, he was in big at first, but he's into flip. That's all he does, man. He's in this crypto play. His playbook is all over the place. That's not a guy who's got conviction. That's a guy that's looking for tomorrow's buck. But you look at Dustin Shindo, and yeah, at first he was kind of like selling a little bit, but then once Kanzo stepped in, he's held tight. So to me, he's locked, man. Kanzo's locked. Grip hasn't moved a muscle. Those were shelf deals. Kanzo was a shelf deal, and Grip was a shelf deal. Now this is a shelf deal. So to me, in that retrospect, you're looking at locked up shares again. And whether it's one investor, two investors, three investors, one guy gets 10%, one guy, because I don't know how Grip really fits in with that whole deal, but in retrospect, they have basically 10% of what Kanzo has, right? So I don't know what that is, right? Is that maybe Kanzo's sister partner company? You know what I mean? I never actually got deep into researching them, but
I have so many things I want to go to. First of all, somehow Anthony said because it's Mother's Day, we should do a short 1 hour stream because people got things to do.
Mother's Day special.
But I don't think we can get to that. I mean,
That's true.
we're not even at garlic epiphanies yet. We're a half hour in.
Now you wanted to show him, jet engines with spaghetti in them and stuff like that. We should just went straight to, death smiles at the pulpit.
I know that was great. I think I gotta clip that whole segment to be like a whole thing to post separately. But we have some interesting points here. First of all, Rezo, I like he says, we have 40 million cash, even though roughly 100 million market cap. I think that is a great point, especially given the fact that this is a future technology. If you look at things like Tesla, it's all about investing in the future, and their cash to market cap ratio is probably way crazier, more like 4% rather than 40%, if I had to guess. And also, Deep Jackson, I want to mention, you guys think we could see any more dips from here? Honestly, if we didn't,
our bottom, dude, we break 250, that's our new bottom. I don't think we're going to see that 215 again. Anybody that got in that day got lucky.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Best time to plant a tree was yesterday.
I think possibly
that's
tomorrow.
What I'm saying. You want to try to get in tomorrow before we actually start shooting off to 4, because at that point you're going to be chasing it all the way to 8. And
that's honestly what I was going to say. I think tomorrow's the best bet.
That's your best bet to get in before we rock it, man. And at that point, it's a chase, and where we blow off at and where we come down to after that, I do not know. Because I feel like it's a total trend shift, and we're going to be stair-stepping our way up. So we might not get a 80 some odd % retrace. We might only get 50. We might only get 20. I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but day to day.
And honestly, putting HOVR aside, if you look below at the tickers, right now it's not showing it, but if you saw the prices, it shows the weekly change. Pretty much the entire sector has been up this whole week. HOVR is the only one that's lagged, actually. Since last week, the price were actually down 1%, whereas Joby, Archer, Eve, all these companies are up 10 to 22%. It's going to show here in a minute now until it gets there. But here you have Beta Technologies up for the week. Let's see.
We up like 50% on that monthly, though.
15% for Beta. Joby here up 17% for the week. HOVR is down 1% for the week. It's got some catching up to do. It's obviously got a good momentum and a lot of news going for it now. And actually, the entire industry and stock market is going to get a big roar soon with the SpaceX IPO, which we'll get to in a minute. But Is there some things, Anthony, you wanted me to share some clips, anything regarding this dilution that Dead Smiles was talking about? Should we get into that maybe?
Yes, sir. So 2 video clips from when we interviewed Brandon to finish off this HOVR Dilution Delusion section. One of these was when Death Smiles asked Brandon how we were going to do with the $50 million. And then another one of the clips is when I asked Brandon, what does he say to people that are jaded about being dicked around by micro caps over the years unethically?
I'll play the first one.
The answers are great. So basically, he said this months ago. The reality is now, and my man Brandon Robinson sticking to his word. Let's go.
Great. And about how far down the road do you think that $50 million is going to get us? Are we going to get another 12 to 18 months of runway out of that?
Well, what I can say is you can look into our latest filings. We do have 12 to 18 months of runway in the bank right now, period dot, if we don't raise another single dime from the ATM. And that's put us in the combination of that and our refusal to do a bad deal with any of these investment bankers has created a bit of a feeding frenzy a little bit, right? So we got some pretty good terms. We have numerous, tens and tens of term sheets in front of us right now with various sort of terms with the investment bankers. And when we do strike a deal, I think the market's going to be pretty happy with the fact that it's a strong deal. So we can continue to add with the ATM, and that gives us a little bit of buffer. And maybe a raise in Q1, Q2 would help just accelerate the program, to be quite frank. We can do it with what we have in the bank right now, but with the testing that's going very well, a small raise, again, watching dilution and being very careful about that, very responsible to the shareholders, would help bring the timeline a little bit forward and just let us step on the gas effectively.
Great.
Boom.
Boom. And the next clip.
Yes, Mr. Death Smiles?
Accelerate. We're accelerating.
Yes. And don't forget, when Brandon was asked that question by the Hustle Brothers, they asked him if somebody gave him $50 million, what would he do with it? He just said we would just get done 6 months faster or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's obviously.
Just do it quicker. That's it.
Yep.
All right. Let's play this.
Well, I try to always stick to facts with folks. The first thing is, I'm honest with them. It is a hard thing to do, to build a company. Second thing I say is, listen, just let's talk facts. What is our percent dilution last year compared to the others? It's minor compared to Joby diluted like 50% last year. Not a lot of people have the facts. And they think things, I should say they feel things are the case, but they don't think them based on any first principle analysis. And so, yes, some certain amount of dilution is going to be normal going forward. The thing and all companies are doing it, including the major ones at massive levels. The thing you got to think of is, what's our market cap now? Is it a legit team? What's, any company in the space that is a full-scale prototype that's flying or has any kind of success, what does that look like? Is there a valuation discrepancy? Of course there is. And what are some inflection points going forward? And, and I say, listen, if you're not, up for some volatility, then you shouldn't be in the microcap space to begin with. But there's a lot of upside potential here. Can I guarantee anything? No, of course I can't. But what I can guarantee is an authentic approach, a great team that's coming together to build what is, no kidding, just a really great machine, using technologies that are available, put together in a very unique way and careful way. And it's going to make a big difference when we accomplish it, and we will. Like I said, we don't have to have a 600-person team right now. A lot of those companies have massive marketing and government relations arms, and they needed to be able to lobby for the rules that are already in place right now. We're kind of a 2.0 company that now we get to exist in an ecosystem where the rules for regulation are written, the technology has advanced to the point where it really makes sense for architecture, and we don't have to oversell it, right? So are we going to grow significantly over the next couple of years? You betcha. Are we going to be a 1,000+ person company in 2 years, in 3 years? Nope, we don't need to be. We're not operating our own airline. And by the way, saying that we're going to produce thousands of these airplanes per year. We're just building a kick-ass machine for the real world in a highly profitable way. By the way, building a lot of cool technologies that are going to be useful to a lot of different people along the way that we're very keen on identifying.
Okay. Boom. My man's honest. He's straightforward. Game plan is going. I want to highlight something he said though towards the end. If you invest in like McDonald's or something, what are they doing? They got the same burgers. You might get a big arch once in a while, right? If you read any business books, there's 4 levels of exchange. It's essentially a natural law of if a company will do well. There's 4 levels of exchange or transaction. The first one is criminal. You pay for something, you get nothing. That's criminal transaction. Second one is deficient transaction. You buy a coffee, you get a cold coffee, right? You buy the burger, it doesn't have the cheese on it. It's like a deficient transaction. Third one is you have even exchange, right? Which is the commonplace exchange for most companies. You pay for a drink, you get the exact drink, right? That's the third level of exchange. The fourth one is exchange in abundance, where you pay for something, but what is delivered to you is a cut above what is expected. It is excellent service. You see harmonics of this in you go someplace to buy an overpriced bag and then they give you a champagne or something, right? You buy a diamond and they give you the finest cut blue diamond to get you back, something like that, right? So I want to highlight that thing he said at the end there. He said, we're also developing technologies that we could, get to people that need them, sell them, so forth along the way, right? You guys heard him say that at the end, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting because the excessive, the abundant exchange factor with this is excellent, because not only do we have the X7 to look for, like the Big Mac, right? Brandon's saying we got the other stuff because everybody knows about the X5, the drone capability, potentiality with that, the licensing deal with, the wing configuration for someone or whatever this may be. He's not spilling the secret sauce recipe for everybody to know about, but I just find it interesting that the core product alone is exchange in abundance, right? But then you add to that all the other stuff they're doing with the Toyota Prius, Ginsu, Swiss Army Knife of the Sky program, and they even got other stuff on the menu. That's what's crazy. So it's like the natural law of business. That's the shit. These guys are awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna scale from one to the next, right? The X5 is our badass drone. Our X7 is our little 6-man with 1 pilot that can do reconnaissance, do little deliveries, this and that. But Brandon already said when we talked to him last time, it continues to scale from there. So an X17 or an X21, something with like a 16 or 20 passenger variant, that's going to be the next goal after these things are rolling out. So it's not like, okay, we're done, we're just going to do maintenance. No, we're going to pivot into the next thing, and we're going to collect money from the maintenance, and we're going to keep on growing. And we don't have to grow manufacturing wise if we get to lean on all these partnerships, right? And then who's our big competition anyway? I mean, honestly, like we always talk about market caps of Joby and Archer, right? But they're not even competitors, dude. It's so stupid. They're not competitors. There's nobody out there to compete with this. Like your major competitor or your major market disruptor is going to be like Bell Helicopters or like Airbus, right? The people who actually make helicopters that this is going to fucking take the place of, right? And if you go and you look, and if you dig hard enough and you open your eyes at the investor package on Horizon's site, you'll notice there's a little Bell helicopter logo right on the investor package. Now, has anybody said anything about a Bell partnership? No.
but the logo's been there for what, 2 years? Longer? Now, if you go and look at Phil Kelly and look at his little side company, what logo does he have up? Airbus. So our two biggest competitors are going to end up being our two biggest backers. Who are we competing with now? Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And the market cap is insanely small is the crazy thing. Like,
Yeah.
If you're comparing it to Bell, then yeah, we are stupid small right now compared to what we should be. And Joby and Archer and just catching up to all that, that'll just be the first step, man. That'll be like, all right, the X7 is successful. And then once they start taking the place of helicopters everywhere and people start realizing it, and what about the 2028 Olympics? We already talked about the huge FOMO effect that's going to have. Like, we're talking about it now as a small group of retail. When the whole world sees this, the whole world sees it at the exact same time with the Olympics, the FOMO is going to be insane. If you're ever going to try to skim a little profit on HOVR, that would probably be your golden moment, in my opinion. Right?
Damn.
Just a thought.
Preach, brother. I can't put $5 in the collection plate, so I guess I'll Venmo you.
Dave Jackson was hyped from your speech earlier too, and he says, "Damn, that smiles. You make me want to go all in."
Yeah, I'm already there, dude.
He says, "Now you got me." He's
and
about to sell all his other shit.
Money that you're willing to not, if you don't need the money, put it there, right? I'm all in equity wise. I'm all in HOVR, but I don't have. It's not like I have no money, right? I still have gold. I have physical gold. I have physical silver. I sold some when we did the blow off and all that crazy shit with silver, right? I'm not an idiot, but I still have it. I still have a bunch. I have other investments in other things, but as far as my stocks go, I only own one.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is conservative in comparison. Just like Canzo, all of their investments are bonds. They're all 3%, 4%, like solid yields, right? But there's no risk. And at the same time, they're hugely invested or they own a giant portion of Horizon Aircraft. That's like the only equity they really own. I know they say there's other ones, but try to find a public one. There's not one. They're all private companies, okay? This is the only one. And if somebody who is only willing to bet on something that is a guaranteed return, like bailing Bombardier out for $500 million and then making 3 or 4% off of that deal when they pay me back, right? That's a bond. Now it's like they're in this equity. That's it. I'm in this equity. That's it, right? I have other things. If you're out chasing a day play, this isn't it. If you're in it for the long term and you want those real compounded gains that Warren Buffett made his fucking whole life on, stick here and stay here.
And we're not even talking about 10x. This is possible 100 to 1,000x territory. You don't even, honestly, we can't even know. I want to briefly highlight here. Deke Jackson says, I am still not at the shares I want. I want to add more. I may be able to, I guess he'll be able to do more in a few weeks. That's fine. At least you're in it because you have people here like Crispy who says he loves Brandon as an operator. I am not in the stock though. He doesn't own a single share, but he loves Hover and he's always listening to us, which is funny because he even agrees that they check all the boxes in how he assesses companies and management. He just doesn't like the sector right now, which, interestingly enough, maybe if the sector doesn't do well, but if this is the one, it doesn't matter if the sector doesn't do well long term. You want to have something in. So at least you have something in, Deke. Keep dollar cost averaging. This is a good story. But I don't know. eVTOL sector has been doing pretty well the last week, as we just kind of went over. Crispy, you haven't been in Hover for a while, so he just doesn't like the sector as a whole. Let's see.
Desmile's got Spider-Man #1 and gold bars. I was donating plasma to get my Hover. You know what I'm saying? I was nickel and diming it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got a shit ton of comics right now. I don't even want to talk about how many comics I ended up with. And I found out Jerry Conway died like 2 weeks ago. I got like 40 slabs that I got signed by him that at his last signing like 2 months ago, and then he passed away. So I guess all that shit's gonna go up now too.
Wow.
I didn't do it on purpose, guys. I just, the Spider-Man movie is coming out this summer. The Punisher's supposed to be hot. So I bought a bunch of Punisher shit before Christmas because, like I said, I like to play with other things. And I figured I could sell some fucking books for triple or quadruple later and get them signed, right? Well, now he's dead. I guess there's a finite amount of signatures now, so the value only goes that way.
Badass.
Sucks he died, but
yeah, Desmile's on a different level, bro.
Yeah, that was great.
All kinds of stuff. Dude,
I'm gonna clip your passions and make a little video out of this segment. That was great. I think are we good to move on, or do you guys want to stick on this topic still?
I'm always ready for the next segment.
Cool. Because we're 50 minutes in. So the next segment is your special segment. We have garlic epiphanies.
Yeah.
With Anthony.
Yeah, I sent you guys that picture yesterday in San Francisco. There's this really popular Italian restaurant. It's called the Stinking Rose, and everything has a huge amount of garlic on it. So they just like blast it with the garlic. I'm not a big carb guy, but when I do cheat, I like to go there because I already told you guys about my theory that people have not fully realized the medicinal benefits of garlic because 99% of the time you're getting it with a carbohydrate. So those things off balance and you don't feel awesome because when you eat a lasagna or a pizza, you usually get the carb comatose afterwards. You're not feeling the juice. You know what I'm saying? So we go no bread. You see what I'm saying? We go straight in like a rodeo rider. You know what I'm saying? Chewing tobacco right before the bowl. You know what I mean? Because it goes straight into your brain via the mucous membranes. You know what I'm saying? That's how chewing tobacco gets into the system, right? So here we go. We're going in. First garlic of the day. Damn, that was good. Like a liquid pizza.
That smells. Have you ever done this? Me and Mark Berry were doing this for like a week and we stopped. It is brutal.
Yeah, you think I'm gonna follow you guys? Come on. You're nasty, man.
It really is
No,
not.
I like my garlic, dude. I do like garlic, but I ain't eating it raw. I'm half Italian, so I need to have it on some pasta or some pizza or something,
Yeah. Yeah, I like the eat what you're supposed to eat when you're sick, when you're healthy program. That's how you get the juice. All right, here we go. Epiphany program. This thing was dawning on me yesterday. This guy on Reddit told me that I was a $10 bag holder of Hover because he said, you're pumping the stock, you're a $10 bag holder. And then I thought to myself, why would someone say something so stupid? And then obviously he thought he was right. Just like every person we all know in our lives who you give the most fantastic advice to, but they don't take it. Why don't they take it? It's because they have to be right. The mind has an ingrained button. You got to be right. You know what I'm saying? It's like a calculator. You put in equations, you're always right. Calculator works, right? But anyway, so then it got me thinking. I was like, obviously his deep dive was 3 seconds. Pull up the chart, Matan. Here we go. Pull up the chart. $10. There we go. That was the guy's deep dive. It lasted 3 seconds, right? He was like, boom, off a cliff. Obviously, this guy's probably part of the buy high, sell low crew, right? But, you know, an intelligent individual would look at this and be like, holy smokes, HOVR's 52-week low is about to be $1 in about a week. That's sick. And then people are going to be looking at this like, whoa, these dudes held the dollar for a year like some champions? Yes, they did. So anywho, here's the epiphany. Brought to you and appreciated and thanks to the guy on Reddit that told me I was a $10 HOVR bag holder. All right, here we go. So I thought to myself, why did he just do a 3-second deep dive? And then I started thinking, there's got to be a checkbox, logical sequence of events for an individual to do a standard deep dive, right? And then so I looked it up and I wrote it all down. I'm going to quickly go through it all with you because I can't remember it all. So I have it on my legal size piece of paper here. And I would be able to remember it if I had Elon Musk brain chip. I would just down boot that. And then you guys would see my eyes roll back and I'd go into like straight like off boot mode. Okay. But anywho, let's see. Great. Common sequence of events. Here we go. So now we're going a deep dive for a pre-revenue micro cap. Spoiler alert. Okay. Horizon Aircraft, their communications to people through this whole year have been in exact alignment with the correct sequence of a deep dive, right? Because there's always there's a 90% chance the person's going to take this first step, then a 90% chance the next step. So obviously people are going to waver off the path, but there is a logical sequence of events for a deep dive, and their communication has filled all of these slots crazy. I don't know if they did it on purpose, but it's real smart. Matt Chesler did win, Investor Relations of the Year, Canada, etc. Because obviously my man knows the natural laws. My man's doing it right. So here we go. Pre-revenue company deep dive. So initial assessment, value proposition. Are they identifying the problem? Do they have the solution? We know that. Evaluate value. Will the product win faster, cheaper, more efficient? They told us that. Next step, market validation and competition. Huh? We're complementary. We're complementary. We're over in the sidelines doing our own thing, right? So TAM analysis, opportunity large enough to justify the risk? I'd say so. They've communicated that. Identify direct and indirect competitors. We complementary. He said that 1,000,000 times. Here we go. Potential customers to verify they actually need the product. We're the Toyota Prius of the sky, Swiss Army knife, that thing's going to flip into VIP, medical, cargo, whatever you need. They already talked to them. The Andes Mountains Mining Company. They know what they need to get the guys up there. Thank you. What's that one in South America? Not Jet Set Go, but the other one. Anyway. Oh yeah. So then we got next step, technical due diligence. Assess technical feasibility, scalability, robustness. They've been doing that. Meet the teams, dropping the data. Brandon's showing you how it works. Management and team evaluation. That's the next step. So then we got the founder's background. That's a subsection. Founder's background. Brandon's 3 generations deep aerospace. He's telling us how his great-grandfather was building an airplane in their backyard. You know what I'm saying? Desmile's got the deep dives, how that dude's part of the CB program back in the 1940s or something like that. That's crazy. These guys got it in their blood. So I'd say management team background. Then we got, team balance. That's the next step. Team balance. Ensure the team has a mix of technical, product, and sales expertise. We got the goddamn Canadian EVTOL Olympics gold medalists over here. We got Phil Kelly. We got, Jamil. We got Tom. We got all of them. These guys are top crest is what these guys are. Team balance. Meet the teams. They got them all. They got the rising stars under 30, the young guns. They got all that stuff. Team feasibility. Big fat check mark, right? Then we got commitment check. Commitment check. I like this one. Commitment check. confirm the founders are fully committed, right? Yeah. Hello, right? And then we got the next step, financials and capital structure. Deciles went into some of that. We all know that. It's pretty straightforward. They're doing their thing there. That looks healthy. And, great. And then we got analyze the burn rate and the cash runway. Cool. This one I really liked because with the sequence of events of the usual deep dive of an individual, what do? They go to XTIA and they see that a couple years ago, the average price for XTIA was like $2 million a share because those guys did a 1 for 250 split for 5 cents. That's what you find, right? That's the horror stories of the misrun micro caps. That's what that is. Or you look at Joby and Archer and you're like, hot damn, these guys got a float of 1 billion, 800 million. What the hell's going on? What did Horizon do? They're like, yo, no big deal. We're a 2.0 program where we get to live in an ecosystem where the rules have been are established. We're an OEM. We're not trying to operate these things. We're chilling, we're just going to make 200-300 of these bad boys a year. So you don't have to worry about, us becoming XTIA. You don't have to worry about us being like Joby and Archer. We're our own thing because we're a complementary program. All right, moving on here. Good. So then legal and regulatory compliance. Looks like they're checking their boxes. I think they hired a secondary accountant or something like that to handle the legal mumbo jumbo. So that's probably fine. A little bit early for that anyway, whatever. And then last one, here we go. Go to market strategy and milestones. I like that. That's the last one. And as I've gone through this, even though we're at the stage we are, they have touched all of these, right? So here we go. Go to market strategy and milestones. Evaluate the sales plan. Cool. 200, 300. It's order of magnitude higher to make 1,000 or 2,000 a year. We don't want all that. Right? Key milestones in combination with funding. They're super transparent about that, right? We make a milestone, bump it up. Run the ATM, bump it up, run it. You know what I'm saying? Early investors with conviction, boom, we're sitting solid. Warren Buffett level, right? And then it's like, some of these people that is scared of dilution shit my pants. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you just got to do a little deep dive every once in a while. So anyway, it's interesting because not all companies can run this gauntlet, right? Not all companies can check these boxes, right? A chick goes out with a guy who's got no job. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, what do you do for a living? He's like, he doesn't answer the question or he deflects. You know what I'm saying? I was deep diving some companies. These guys was like, yeah, we're going to be doing this in the fall. And fall came, never happened. Winter came, never happened. Summer came, never happened. I'm like, these guys are liars, whatever. But it's trippy because they don't run this whole line. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. You can't run this whole line, which is what they have done. It is absolutely astonishing that they have marketed and communicated. Goddamn geniuses these guys are. They have marketed and communicated in the exact sequence that people are supposed to do a logical deep dive, any logical questions answered. It's amazing. And that's my epiphany. And I got it. Thank you, Mr. Telling me I got a $10 average in HOVR. No, it's $1 and I got 50,000 shares. So,
I love it. That was great. That was insane. Actually, I could never be on your level. I don't know if you added cocaine in your garlic today, but the level of passion was great.
I did get a haircut. I did get a haircut.
So much so that you influenced me. I just went to go grab a garlic because we got some more news, SpaceX IPO, which I'm going to talk about, and some things that I got to get on your level. So for garlic epiphanies, well, let me take out the ends here, but oh my God, this is going to be brutal. I haven't done this in a minute.
Go.
Okay, this is so big.
You got it.
It starts pretty easy.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. It's like eating your peas, It's like, mom tells you it's healthy. You just do it. You know what I'm saying?
What are you going to do next? Start eating onions like they're apples?
It starts easy, but
yeah, the thing I always take the vitamin E. That's really good. Adds oxygen to your bloodstream. All the carcinogens and pollution in the environment. It lowers your antioxidants. Less oxygen, so vitamin E bumps up.
Teach them about all the garlic. I need to get more water.
Yeah,
You
garlic's
should give
dope.
him a Serrano, man.
Yeah, yeah.
See if he
So
can
yeah,
take a
basically the
Serrano.
ancient Egyptians. What were you saying, Death Smiles?
Oh, see if he can take a Serrano. One of those fucking really hot jalapeno peppers, you know, the little tiny ones that you barely bite the little tip of it, and your fucking whole mouth lights up on fire.
Ha! Now that's you. Death Smiles takes ghost pepper. That's you, bro. But yeah,
It's
no,
good
ancient
shit, man.
Egyptians.
I like it.
Currency. They used garlic as a currency in ancient Egypt. It gave them fortitude and stamina and energy. I'm telling you, garlic is the bomb. Anybody gets sick, grandma tells you take some garlic. And yeah. And the thing I've been taking recently is amino acids that are precursors to dopamine, right? Because I drink coffee and stuff like that, which fires that stuff off. So I've been taking these amino acids that give you the precursors to make more dopamine. That's been kind of cool. And then I can only recommend my own experiences. I took dandelion capsules because dandelion stimulates your liver because your liver is a filter, like a cigarette filter, and it just absorbs things over time and it gets bombarded and kind of goes brain dead a little bit. So if you take dandelion capsules, it stimulates your liver so that it can dislodge the toxins that have accumulated in your liver. And then you get more pep in your step because the etymology of these words are no joke. Live, evil, spelled backwards, liver, Liver. They didn't name it that for no reason. So if you can detox your liver with a tea or a dandelion capsule, you'll get some more pep in your step, hands down.
Can you just do
Pep
like
in your
golden-
bro? I got pep in my step from that garlic right now. I rushed to the kitchen to go get water, and I literally fell on the floor. I just got a little injured from garlic. So definitely gives a pep in your step. I was rushing, bro. I wanted water, and I literally fell on the floor.
Dude, you're hot.
But I got some
It's hot.
blackberries to get rid of the taste because the water does not help. The thing is gross.
You want health, you got to work for that.
Ben says, if HOVR makes it big, will Anthony open a garlic farm? You know, we were jokingly talking about garlic earlier, and he said something about garlic trees, and I'm like, does garlic even grow on trees? I don't know where garlic actually grows from. That's so funny. But yeah, isn't it from the ground? You need a farm, like yeah.
I think it's a fat bush. I think it's biblical, personally.
I actually have no idea. It's not that bad. Yeah, no, Rezo, you should try it. You guys, you know what? Let's make a little challenge, okay, for garlic epiphanies. It would be amazing if we can show a little video of you guys eating garlic, just like we have that video of Anthony and every time him doing it on the live. If any of you, Rezo, Ben, any of you listening want to try garlic one day, just take it, send us a little video. You know what? Let's show, we have a video of Mark taking it once. Maybe we'll do that next time. I have to find it. But maybe with every garlic epiphany, it would be awesome if we can show a subscriber taking a garlic themselves. But anyways, that was a lot of fun, Anthony. Thank you. It was not fun taking the garlic, but you know what? Wow, can you guys tell my energy levels are up, actually? I feel it. So this is great. We're gonna get to SpaceX IPO.
Add B1. B1 is a powerful vitamin, bro. B1. You add B1 and vitamin C. So simple. You take some B1, some vitamin C, and some E. You're good as a baseline. I'm telling you, B1's a powerful vitamin. You actually burn every cigarette you smoke. You burn 50 milligrams of B1. Coffee, it's like 60 milligrams. So that's why people deteriorate when they take drugs, caffeine or whatever. It's because it burns the vitamins in your body faster than usual. Like if you're walking down the street, let's say you burn 0.1 milligrams of B1. You drink a coffee, you burn 40 milligrams of B1, let's say. So if you take caffeine, etc., you like some stimulants, you take the vitamins, it gives you back your surplus. You reload. You want to reload.
There you go. You guys got a little health lesson today too.
Yeah, you got to live long so you can reap them Warren Buffett benefits. You know what I'm saying? Like my man Best Smiles talking about. You know what I'm saying?
What I'm talking about, dude.
I guess before we continue, maybe some questions for you guys that smiles. Let me see here in the chat before I go to SpaceX and lose some people here, because I don't know if people just want to hear about HOVR, but
SpaceX week's
all
going
I
to be
care
hot
about,
for Hover,
man.
though. Market's going to be FOMO. We blasted off on SpaceX.
Yeah, they're kind of complementary industries. You know, people are going to be into SpaceX, aerospace. They might get into hover, but
but
Crispy.
this to me, I'm gonna end up seeing these in 10 years all over the fucking place, right? Like, I'm never gonna see any other shit in person. I'm never gonna sit in one. I'll sit in one of these.
You never know. Never say
Yeah,
never.
you never know.
That's
You're
what
right.
people said.
Anything could possible. I could live to be 1,000,000. Hey, whatever.
I like space and drones more, but when I talked to Brandon, I was impressed on his views on the potential of the X5 in a drone context. That is true. What do you mean when you talked to Brandon? Crispy, did you have an interview with Brandon? Did he have one? I completely missed that. Did he have one?
I mean, 150-pound payload, that's pretty decent. You could definitely forward drop some stuff to somebody, military application or whatever. It's really a good tool. And then the range, I think we figured was going to be like 200 to 300 kilometers, which I don't really know what breaks down into miles because I'm just not that quick and savvy off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But I definitely remember the 150-pound payload, and that's pretty interesting because you could definitely get some ammunition to somebody, supplies to somebody. And then the other thought would be like if they had a stripped down version of that, which was like a single man kind of like rescue drone, right? Like there's one guy that, I don't know, like I'm almost thinking like James Bond style, right?
That's
and
right.
This thing drops in, he jumps in and lays down in it, and it takes him wherever it's supposed to take him, and he doesn't do a thing. It's just, get in, all right, you belted, hit the button, go.
And the fun thing is, all this is theoretical. That if it actually happens, if this
Totally theoretical
becomes real, like Rezo says here, the X5 can completely flip any valuation expectation that's been made on the Reddit, because pretty much all the expectations is based on the X7, right? It's honestly like completely the opposite of like Tesla that people are maybe thinking is overvalued because it's priced to perfection of the future, right? Like the future technologies, like the robots and stuff that, not just a car company. When here we're talking about like a company that is not priced to the future. They literally have potentials like the drone industry as a whole that people are just not pricing in, and we're just focusing on like the cars, but people are like forgetting about the robots in some sense.
But like think back to when the AFWorks deal started. Like, do you remember what year that was? The AFWorks deal started with Horizon?
No.
So you got to go back like what, 6 or 8 years?
Yeah.
And the X5 has been something they've been testing for like 4+ years. When you finally saw that flight video, that is like at the very end of X5.
Yeah.
And the very beginning of pivoting into the X7, right?
Yeah.
So why would you take 4 or 5 years to test a 50% model?
Good question. Why would you?
Yeah. Why don't you tell me?
I'm going to go with...
No, that's actually a great point because every eVTOL company I know...
Why spend all that time and all that money to perfect a half-scale drone when the full goal is to go full scale, right? Like if you're not seeing that was an advantage and a stepping stone to the next thing, and that
is a great point,
possibly come to light sooner than later because that's already done. That doesn't need the same kind of testing that we need for the X7, right?
Of course.
Then once we get through the X7, it's just pivoting into the next one, the next scale.
Yeah.
Right. But the X5 was kind of like a secret deal. That was all AFWorks program to begin with back in 2018, right? The company came public in 2024. After the whole problem with Astro and merging with Astro, then Astro trying to get bought out by Northrop Grumman and Horizon going, no, you're not taking our IP with you, and we're taking our company back, and now we're going to go back. And it took them a couple years, like a reset, right, to get control of the company again, get everything in place again, and start over with the SPAC or whatever they did with Dustin. And then it just pivoted from there, right? So the X5 and all that is something that we have to fall back on regardless, in my opinion. The government already put a lot of money into that, and now the government's coming and putting more money into it. They're putting 10.4 million into, hey, we want you to do more R&D. Well, what is the R&D for? It's for the X7. We're going to keep continuing to pursue this technology and scale it because we want it, right? So you go from a couple $100,000 to a couple $1 million to 10 million to 20 million. It just keeps ramping up.
We need to get Brandon back on the show. We got a lot of questions for him, and the question Death Smile just posed, I think, is number one.
Yeah.
Because that is a great point I actually never considered. And I maybe want to do some more research and see all the other companies that built a prototype. How long was that phase from half scale to full scale? Comparing
so they
to HOVR,
the X5 flying within months of starting that program for AFWorks, and then they tested it for like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, which is crazy.
How'd they win first place? They won. One out of 5 companies to win the AFWorks thing. They even had earlier smaller ones, probably.
Right. There's 250 or some odd applicants, and the top 5 companies won. Horizon was one of those 5 companies that won. And when you win phase 1, you go ahead and you do your thing, and then you were lined up for phase 2, lined up possibly for phase 3. But phase 1 happened in like 2018. And then there's like all this timeline gap before the X5 comes to the flight, right? Like,
true.
Yeah, I get there was some restructuring in the middle there, but something else took place to make it take that long.
Yeah.
Like, I get the 2023 Astro got delisted, and a year later Horizon came online. So there's a year gap there. But what about all the history before 2023, back to 2000, or even go further back than 2018? Why don't you go back to 2013? Has anybody gone back that far? I've gone back to the very beginning, to when Brandon wasn't even really standing in the picture. Brian was standing in the picture, and he's at the desk talking about the X3, and he's got a little model that he can hold in his hand, and that's it. And the X3 pivoted to bigger, and now people are showing me videos of stuff that looks just like the X3, that has the patented landing gear on it that we own the patent to at HOVR. I'm like looking at that going, well, obviously. And then in the thing you said, it's like it crashed or whatever. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, we pivoted away from that a long time ago. And it's for an obvious reason. The people, these investors that Brandon was talking about, that said they came to us, they asked us to make this for them. Those are investors that are going to somebody that really knows what they're fucking doing and going, hey man, like, I see all these eVTOLs and all this other stuff going on. It's kind of a disruptor to our market. We know you're the guy. We know you're the guy that can get it done right, get it done quick. And we want to start investing in you. And that's what happened.
That's a great point. And it's not like there's a lot of other guys they can go to. This is a small niche space. Like, I like how Mark Berry explained.
It's a generational thing too. Robinson is a big name in Canada. That family has a big history in aviation that goes back further than Brandon's dad. And it's
Are you
not
talking about the helicopter family?
Well, I'm not just talking about like his immediate family. I'm talking like his grandfather. Like, Like, it's just in their blood. Aviation's in their blood. And if you start looking at, even further, let's say out the family tree, if you want, it's in the blood. A Robinson and aviation seem to go hand in hand.
Yep.
That Smiles has dropped all the bombs I needed to hear.
Boom.
Just a few, man. I got so many of them.
He's taking a light on y'all. Talk
He
to
really
this guy on the
does.
phone. Talk to this guy on the phone. I swear to God, I call Death Smiles up on the phone. My IQ goes up. It's crazy. It's crazy.
If you guys want Dead Smiles on the channel more often, leave a like, make this get more views, and tell us, leave in the comments that you want him back, and we'll happily maybe do more of these. He's a busy guy too, but we'll coordinate and have all three of us kind of on. Just like Mark Berry, we want to. It would be awesome if we could all four be on all the time, but we all have busy lives, and this podcast is just taking our time. So I'd like for this to be a bigger thing. If people are actually listening, it only incentivizes us more to be willing to be on here, especially if 2 hours out of their time, it's a lot to expect. So I appreciate that. And we'll definitely have him on more in the future, dropping more bombs. We are an hour and 20 in. We're not even halfway.
We got more hover. Let's go SpaceX though. We got more hover.
But no, that's good. We got a lot of hover. This is what people wanted. Let me read quickly the comments here. Maybe we can all have a beer when hover hits $20. Absolutely, we are going to do that. We've been planning. I thought even before $20. I thought we said at $10 was our price. We're gonna do a hover meetup somewhere in the States. Don't know where and when, but we will figure that out.
Just go to Vegas, man.
Actually, we were thinking in North Carolina.
Vegas, right?
Yeah, maybe, but no, because this is gonna be recorded. It's not gonna stay in Vegas. I'm gonna definitely have to shoot a little content if we all meet up. That'd be awesome. But we were thinking North Carolina at Mark Berry's house would be pretty cool. But we'll see. We'll see.
I'll bring the cigars.
The garlic.
That too.
We're gonna all have garlic for breakfast. That'd be a lot of fun. We'll figure that out in the logistics. But moving on. I'm looking forward to the day when I see the X7 flying over my house. Hell yeah. Can't wait. Let's see when that day happens. I joined in on X Spaces before Mac running it, I believe. Oh, this is regarding him meeting with Brandon Robinson. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I think I did see that one. I forgot. Yeah, I guess you did get in a question in there. Pretty cool. And that was regarding his question of what was it? The potential of a drone. Yes. Very cool. So that Smiles has been dropping bombs. Maybe the fan and wing design was just that much harder to nail. I don't know if that's the reason they took 6 years or so to test. But that definitely is one of the biggest features and innovation.
They already won the award. I guarantee it wasn't for a drawing.
When the X7 is ready and they're using contract manufacturing and scaling partners, they can take the X5 scaling in-house and have complementary margins with less CapEx and autoclaves and production equipment. Yes. Pretty much just economies of scale as they grow the X7 and scaling the X5.
But he always said it was a pure licensing royalty deal. They might dish it over to Gunthrop or Lockheed Martin or something like that. Let them run with it.
Yeah, honestly, then that might just be the easier play.
We like easy.
And then they could just focus on new products, right? License out the X7, finalize the X5, license that out, build the X9, license that out, and yada yada. Move on from there. I'd guess that they do a licensing agreement for the X5. Yep, just like we said with the big defense company, just like Anthony said. Brandon did talk about U.S. defense companies in the same way he did about Mitsubishi Heavy Industries and Bombardier before. Yes, Z-Stacker been around. I know he's our biggest holder of hover. LOL. Yes. Z-Stacker, I think he was on last time. I guess he's just not available right now. I haven't seen him in a bit, but still around. You know who I haven't seen in a bit? Your garlic guy, Raymond Levy. I don't know where he's been. I haven't seen him in a bit.
I hope he's been busy. Hopefully he fell in love. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's on a date or something. You know what I'm saying? I wish him the best. He can watch the replay.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of fun with the epiphany, and Death Smiles giving us all that info today, dropping bombs. Let's move on to something. I usually don't talk about big companies, world news, but I really like Elon, his companies, what he's doing, and I just think this is quite interesting that what's going on, because it's gonna just make a little dent in the market in general. So as everyone knows, SpaceX is going to IPO. Typical news, but I want to give you some info that you probably don't know too much about. A little bit of a side tangent. So obviously, we all maybe also have heard of. Do you know that Sam Altman and Elon Musk have a whole? Well, it's really Elon Musk versus OpenAI. You guys know how Elon is suing OpenAI?
Yeah, they got beef.
Yeah. So I just want to briefly backtrack to that and how that even relates to the IPO. So Elon donated $38 million to what was supposed to be a nonprofit organization, OpenAI. And eventually they turned for profit, which is something you don't really do. It's unheard of. And if they are allowed to do this, this is going to set a precedent to where anyone can just start a nonprofit and become a for-profit later once ever they decide. And that's not a good thing. So Elon is doing this from that perspective, but also from the perspective of something else, which we'll get to in a bit, which is relating to the IPO. I just want to give into a little information. So he's suing them because you can't just take a nonprofit and make it into a profit, but also because they're worth about almost $1 trillion now. OpenAI actually wants to IPO at $900 billion, which is insane. So his $38 million would have been worth probably in the hundreds of billions of dollars today. So that is a lot of money he missed out on, but he's not necessarily salty of that because he's already the richest man in the world. What he is salty about is now that they want to IPO, which isn't right, becoming from a nonprofit, but more so that they want to do it at the same time that SpaceX IPO is trying to IPO. And that is a problem, especially another company, I think, what was it? Anthropic. That's right, Anthropic that made Claude, and everyone's talking about that, is also looking to IPO at about 950 billion. So we have Anthropic and SpaceX. I mean, Anthropic and OpenAI both trying to IPO at nearly $1 trillion. And then we have SpaceX that wants to IPO at nearly $1.75 trillion. Now, what does this mean? Let's just give some reference here. Oh, no, wrong.
That's the future. We just time traveled.
This right here is a list of the largest IPOs in history. As you can see, the largest IPO ever is Saudi Aramco at $25 billion.
Damn.
Peanuts. Damn, peanuts compared to what we're talking about now, right? We're talking about $1.75 to $2 trillion for SpaceX. That is absolutely way bigger than 25 billion. And then we have OpenAI and Anthropic that wants to IPO at $1 trillion each. 3.5 trillion or so dollars plus to, or maybe like 3.75 to $4 trillion in IPO value. The amount of capital needing to raise is absolutely insane. Now, it isn't as straightforward as it seems, like, oh, they need, if SpaceX wants to IPO at 2 trillion, that means they're getting $2 trillion or whatever. No, first of all, they're already valued at like an insane amount. I'm not sure what, like 400 billion or plus. And this IPO is actually they're only selling 4% or so of the company, meaning 96% of the company is still going to be owned by Elon and the private investors who already have it. But it's going to be sold at a value of 2 trillion. They're only actually raising $75 billion, of which only 30% of that 75 billion, which is about 20-ish billion, is actually the amount needing to be raised. So when you're going to be buying SpaceX IPO on Robinhood when it comes out, there's really only about $20 billion that is able to buy, even though it's worth like 2 trillion, which is absolutely crazy, the difference there. But that's still a shit ton of money. As we said, Saudi Aramco was valued at 25 billion when they IPO'd. I'd assume they probably raised like 1 or 2 billion from the market. And that's just a lot of money that needs to be put in from retail investors. And that 30%, we're only talking about that 20 billion is from retail. Then you also have private venture capital and all these firms trying to raise for the round. It's quite crazy the number it gets to. But basically, SpaceX needs $75 billion of capital. And if these two other companies that are looking to do about the same thing are looking for that same capital around the same time, well, now you have a dilemma for retail, for private investors as well. What am I going to buy? What are you going to buy? And if you want to buy both, now you might have to split your money. And Elon is worried that this whole thing will affect SpaceX's IPO, and they might not be able to raise the amount of money they do, might not be able to achieve the mission of going to the Mars and everything that he wants. And so basically, that is quite a big deal. And so he wants to delay OpenAI's IPO by suing them. He says it's for the for-profit reasons, which I think is there is validation to that. But really, Elon's main motive is to have a successful SpaceX IPO, and a way to do that is to sue Sam Altman and delay their IPO. Even if they fail and Sam is still going to be allowed to take OpenAI public, it will happen at a later time. So quite interesting what's going on there. Just wanted to share a little about that because I don't think people know much about that's really the ulterior motive for the lawsuit, to have this successful IPO. And honestly, it's also crazy. I don't think people realize how crazy it is that the biggest IPO was 25 billion. And now in 1 year, we have 3 companies looking at over $1 trillion. So yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Did Dead Smiles have to go, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it's Mother's Day. He has a beautiful wife and he's a responsible, smart husband. He's doing the work.
All good. We got all the juice from him. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so that's it for SpaceX. Let me get to some of the comments here. All right, getting late here now and I got to catch some sleep. Yes. Well, we should have done an hour like you said. I know. But we'll get to it. All right, we're going to finish up. We don't have too much left here, but I hope you guys stick around to the end. Site of the week is very, very interesting. I know I say that every week, but we got an interesting one for you today. Why doesn't Elon just buy a rocket lab and start over? Why would he do that? He's got a great rocket company. I don't know. But good point there. If you saw, Rocket Lab is absolutely exploding, and the whole space sector is exploding because of the IPO. And I think that'll only trickle down to drones and eVTOLs as people get more excited about, the whole aerospace as a whole. All right. Moving on, we have miscellaneous bite-sized news. All right, first little thing, I guess, to say. So I was in New York, as mentioned earlier, as I landed with a United aircraft to Newark, 12 hours before or after the truck crash. And yeah, I was in New York for a wedding, and a subscriber hit me up. Greek, you guys may know him from the Reddit. I actually met up with him for a dinner. It was a lot of fun. Shout out to Greek. This was us at the dinner. Really fun. We went to a pretty fancy steakhouse, actually. And shout out to Greek. Man, he got me so drunk. He ordered a bottle of wine. We drank cups of wine, and then he ordered a second bottle. We had 2 bottles of wine. Quite a lot for me. So, well, pretty much 1 bottle each of us. I had a whole bottle of red wine all to myself. I got quite drunk, but we had a lot of fun. We talked a lot of HOVR, and he actually taught me some things I didn't know about HOVR. He knows quite a lot about HOVR. So that was pretty cool. That was a lot of fun.
He's all in, bro. He's all in. Yeah.
I forgot to mention this in aviation news, but this can be kind of in here in bite size. Well, while I was also at the airport, I saw two Spirit planes just chilling, not doing anything, which is crazy because the company died. Also, like after I flew back, the same planes were there. They did not move. So quite crazy. And I don't have a picture, but also when I landed in Miami, I also saw Spirit planes just like on the runway. It's crazy. They're just like chilling. They don't know what to do with them now. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, that's quite interesting. Extra other stuff. So last week we spoke about how Brandon Robinson won the eVTOL award for best company to work for. Mm-hmm. When that happened and when that was announced, this is just a little picture of when it was announced and stuff. Brandon and Jason got to go on stage, actually also with the CEO of Pivotal. The aircraft back there is Pivotal. They got to go on stage and talk a little bit about, about what they're doing. So the only news about that is that the interview hasn't come out yet. I'm waiting for that to happen. So that's just some news to look out for. I can't wait for this interview right here to happen. All we have is a picture right now, but I heard it was a really good talk.
Mhm.
What else do we have? Oh, we have this artwork here. And I want to share artwork of the week.
Okay, so the story behind this is really cool. So there was a newer person on the Reddit that I hadn't noticed before, and they made a funny post because people were like, "Why are you buying Hover?" There was like the main question was, "Why are you buying Hover?" And this person put, "Plane is cool, stock goes brrr. If plane goes boom, stock goes boom." And I really like it because it's funny, but it actually paints a really interesting concept, because just like you were talking about, it's extremely simple to communicate the concept of hover to people. You could tell hover to your grandma and she'll get it. Helicopters are cool because they don't need a runway, but they cost a lot to operate and they can't do all weather, etc. Airplanes are cool because they fly aerodynamic. You save money, but you need to build a runway, and you can have those two things, and it's really cool. Wouldn't that be cool? And most people are like, wow, that's really fascinating. The United States government's trying to go more runway independent. They're going on little islands in Japan, et cetera, et cetera. But what's so cool about that is, in the same vein that it's very easy to explain what hover is to your grandmother, that picture paints a very interesting concept, because it paints the very simple idea that this is an excellent time to get into hover. You know what I mean? What was it? Phil Kelly and Brian Merker. What did he say? 8 months now, right? Publicly dropped the 8 months. So 8 to 11 months, we'll be seeing that bad boy out there. So it's like, it's like the perfect storm's kicking in. We got the institutional backer, you know what I'm saying, coming in, red chip program. Everybody's learning about it. So it's so cool that it's like, it's easy to communicate to somebody that hover is a sick hold at this point. So that's what I really like about that artwork. A picture's worth 1,000 words. Plane cool, stock goes plane goes boom, stock goes boom. It's that simple. Load up. That simple.
Beautiful. Love it. We're going quick here. Bite-sized news. We're going to finish up the episode because I know it's been a while. We don't have too much left. Great. So another one that was pretty cool. Not much to share about this one, but this random video Anthony sent me, I was so surprised. I don't know how you found this. All in Chinese. Some guy with 10K subscribers. He just made a video about hover. It got over 600 views. Pretty cool. I'm not going to play it because it's all in Chinese and there's nothing to understand. I guess I could play it muted. He just talks about hover, I have no idea what he's talking about, but it's pretty damn cool to see people all over the world. Chinese people are maybe investing in the stock. So yeah, just something cool to highlight.
I can't take credit for that. Somebody smartfully found it and put it in the hover Discord. So thanks to that, gentlemen.
Should I share the video of the Japan thing you wanted me to share?
Yeah,
also?
might as well. A lot of people haven't seen that. One. This played in the baseball stadium in Japan. Asia's finding out. If you look at the Reddit, there's a lot of Singapore. It's like you post something, it's like Singapore's looking at it. And so Asia's seeing what time it is right now.
It's only 30 seconds. Should I play the whole thing with volume, I guess?
Yeah, it's great.
All right, let's
Lover's
watch it.
LinkedIn.
Imagine taking off like a helicopter. And flying with the speed and safety of an airplane. Faster than the Shinkansen. Travel from Tokyo to Osaka in half the time. Horizon Aircraft, the future of real-world air mobility.
Love it. Short, simple, straight to the point. It's just basically a commercial, for the Japanese market.
Yep.
Awesome.
Canada and Japan are like besties.
Yes, and the Chinese guy doing the video is awesome. I wonder if we can find any more interesting ones like that from anywhere in the world. If you guys listening have any interesting like miscellaneous news, I want to do this sort of segment every week. I don't know what to call it. I think it's a bad name, but it's just sort of random news. Like Anthony sent me the artwork. He's like, let's do artwork of the week. I'm like, I don't think we'll have a new artwork every week, but we can do something like that, right? Kind of like we had the kid who presented HOVR to his college university. That's cool. That's just something different. So yeah, that's kind of what this whole segment is about. I think that's pretty much it. Was there anything else we're missing? Oh, there is. I wanted to add a little bit of an educational bit to this. I think every week I want to teach something small about the aviation space, something that I learned. So for this week, it's actually, did you know there's the FAA, of course, we all know, but there's also something called the AOPA and the GAMA. And these are basically like the three types of regulating bodies for aviation. Now, what exactly are they? We're just going to briefly go over. So you have the FAA, which wait, let me fix this up a bit. Which its main purpose is it's the governing body for the aviation industry for safety regulation. You need to get a license, and they give you the license. GMA is for medical, physical health requirements. I guess that it defines the physical health requirements, I guess, for medical aviation standards. The main goal, medical fitness, I guess, of like a pilot and stuff like that. Required, yes, to fly, it is usually required, and you pass it to stay legal is the action. Yes, okay. The AOPA is a membership association, pilot advocacy and support. It is not required, it is optional, but this helps you keep your rights. I actually am a little bit confused what the purpose of that is. Maybe it would be awesome if we can elaborate next time with Mark Barry. He might know. He might even be part of the membership association. But just a quick highlight. I actually just learned that this morning, so I just wanted to bring that up. I don't know too much about that, but yeah, it's just quite interesting to know that there's three different types of bodies. But everyone, and what in the space we're going for is the FAA. Everyone is in like all the companies, are going after FAA regulations.
It makes a lot of sense. Those type of membership organizations in certain professions and so forth, it's essentially just to like hold the line so that like your rights don't get infringed upon and stuff like that, government overreach and weird stuff like that, or shady dealings in parallel areas that break the law and infringe upon your survival and stuff like that. So it makes sense. I'd say that's pretty spot on.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so that's pretty much it about that. I think that's it for the miscellaneous sized bits. So let's move on to eVTOL news of the week. All right. Quite a lot has happened. Let's see, what should we start with? Okay. Japan, because we just talked about Japan, and I really like Japan. And actually, I might be going to Japan sometime in the future. I want to go there. Possibly planning a trip. Let's see. If I do, actually, that'd be cool to visit SkyDrive. So SkyDrive is a company we actually spoke about, I think, 2 lives ago. They just got their pretty much like their version of the FAA approval or something like that. I don't fully understand it, but they actually now just got their first consortium. Do you know what that is? I just learned what that is. I'll explain what that. Have you ever heard of that, Anthony?
I'm gonna go with a meetup that goes over to hash out regulatory or future events in an industry. Final answer.
Very close. Good answer. Yeah, actually, it's basically an association of 2 or more individuals, companies, or organizations, or governments that pool resources to achieve a common goal while remaining independent. From my understanding, this is basically working with the government now. Here it says, so for commercial operation and joint usage of the eVTOL vertiport launched by SkyDrive and partners. So, SkyDrive is working on the plane. There's going to need vertiports, and there's also going to need like, a sort of a regulatory body for the airspace, I think. So I'm not exactly too sure what this means, but they have a sort of process now. Kind of like, I guess it's kind of like the EIPP program that they have here in the States, that they're working on all the, what are all the rules and stuff. That's why Joby flew JFK. Like, what are all the things they're going to be testing and regular, and governing. So that's my understanding. I don't know too much about that, These are very just quick bits of news, not really deep dives. So yeah, moving on to the next set of news in eVTOL world. We have Archer. Big news for Archer, actually. They just got approved. The Midnight, their aircraft, the Midnight, just got approved for limited operations in Abu Dhabi. Now, if obviously they have any crash, that could be horrible for them. But of course, it's good news. They want to be starting to doing some operation. I don't know the extent of the limitation. Let's just read here the first paragraph real quick to get a vibe. So Archer Aviation Midnight eVTOL has received the approval from the UAE's General Civil Aviation Authority through inclusion in their restricted type certification program and represents a critical milestone towards the eventual operations of the aircraft in the UAE. This development signifies that the first time a manufacturer of eVTOLs will have moved forward with the RTC program with the GCCAA. Honestly, Archer is like one of the only companies working with the UAE. So I mean, but that's good news for them that they're actually starting to soon do some limited operations.
It's great.
We have Wisk. I really like Wisk, actually. I don't know if I like their aircraft, but I like their approach to going full autonomy as like their main goal, and like that's like the backbone of the company. They don't want pilots, but that is not about that. Wisk's news is actually about their second Gen 6 aircraft accelerates Wisk's flight test program. Wisk Aero, an autonomous aviation company, today announced the successful first flight of its second generation 6 aircraft. I guess the aircraft name is the 6 aircraft, but it is the second gen version of it. So that's kind of like they basically learned a lot. That's a good thing for them. They already had an aircraft. This is just a better version of it. It's just like Tesla, how they already have cars, but I have a Model 3, but it's from like 2021. Now there's the Model 3 is already on like the 3rd, 5th, 4th. I don't know what generation, but it's much better, right? So yeah, that's good news for them. This milestone is a powerful testament to Wisk's flight test program and scale, coming shortly after the first Gen 6 aircraft started its flight test campaign in mid-December. Wow, very impressive, very fast to be scaling that fast. Only from mid-December till now, they went from first to second gen. Awesome for them. All right, very cool. So yeah, we had Wisk, Archer. I think that's pretty much it for eVTOL news.
I really hope Archer does great. I'm a big bull for the area. I know people that got Archer, and I care about these people, and I want it to do great. I want them all to fucking do awesome.
Hell yeah. Oh, actually, another one. We have Eve Air Mobility. What's going on with Eve Air Mobility? Let's see. Actually, last week I think we announced they just passed like 50 test flights. Pushing further into HOVR test phase. Yeah. So this is a cool video. Okay.
Yeah.
This is basically they're just kind of showing that they're testing more like rigorously. So look at this. It's just cool to see like they're testing the stability of the aircraft. A lot of these you see they're landing and they're a little bit flimsy and moving back and forth. Here they're showing you like, look how stable this flight is. It's turning, it's going, it's pitching to the right kind of. It's going starboard, actually, I learned.
Oh, snaps. My man dropping the nomenclature, pitching and starboard. Hot dog.
So when you're going forward, it's called forward. When you're going backward, it's called aft, right? Right is starboard and left is port. So right now this is traveling starboard. And yeah, it's just really cool. I just wanted to highlight this because it's just really cool to see how stable the flight is. I was just very impressed, actually, because a lot of these you see, Joby last week we saw landing in JFK, and remember we were talking about how windy it was, and it was like it just didn't look as stable. And this flight here, this video looks really stable. Obviously, the conditions were probably in really good weather. You can tell it's just sunny, clear skies. Beautiful. Probably very little wind, but still very cool video. I have not seen a test flight like this. Would be awesome to see more of this come out from more companies. So shout out to Eve over there. Very cool. Oh, by the way, I was sharing screen, right? I didn't even notice.
It looked great. Yeah.
Cool.
You sent me that video yesterday. I got pumped. I couldn't wait for Hover's vert. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be so cool. One day Hover gonna be like, look what we got. Look what we got. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and that's it for eVTOL news of the week. Maybe I missed something. There's a lot of news going on in the sector now, especially this week. As you see below in the ticker here, I mentioned pretty much every eVTOL company has gone up like in the 10s%, except for Hover, -1% for some reason. And then except for Surf Air Mobility and XTAA, but they're hardly an eVTOL company, so I wouldn't even count that. Even eHang down here below up 1.5%. Archer up 10%. Eve that we just spoke about up 11%. Vertical Aerospace I think up 17%. It's about to get 15%. Crazy numbers. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Circle back to though. I'm glad you brought that up because you mentioned that earlier. Okay, fine. Check this out. Hover is up 58% this month. So in the last 4 weeks of trading, we're up 58%, $2.41, right? But what you said about the other ones tripped me out because check this out. If you look at Joby is up 20% on the month, 19 to be exact. But if you zoom out, they're actually, they're at a lower area, but they're high. I don't think they ever broke 20, or maybe they did for a little bit. So granted, Joby's only 50% away from the high, right? If you look at Archer, right? If you look at Archer on the month, they're up 12%, right? But if you look at Archer, they're down like 60% from their all-time high, right? So it's funny, just like Desmiles was saying, how much juice is in the orange? You know what I'm saying? Like these things are gonna go like to $100 trillion. Like how much room is in there, right? So it's funny that like if you look at the other ones, they're up 20% of the month, 12% of the month, but they need to double triple just to get to their all-time high. But Hover's up 50% on the month, and we got room. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's kind of interesting. So I thought I wanted to point that out. Like the other ones are kind of chilling in a lower range, and they did what they did, but Hover's on full juice mode. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, honestly, the chart looks extremely healthy. It does look like there could be a potential dip, but I wouldn't be too worried because we'd probably get a pretty strong bounce around this $2.180 range. But like Detzimal says, he's pretty damn confident we're gonna be hitting 250 and going past this. So let's see. Honestly, we have already like 3 bounces around this price. To have a fourth would be pretty crazy. But anyways, yeah, let's see. It's definitely gonna be an exciting month for Hover. And an exciting week. I have some news to announce. Well, is there something else you want to go into for eVTOL news?
Thank you. I'm going to go with the Death prediction, right? Because if somebody on the street is willing to pay X amount for a gold bar, everybody on the streets, willing to pay X amount for a gold bar. They see value in this. So since the institutional investors got in at the $2.16, and Brandon was in that interview that we played earlier, he did say when we do all that stuff, all it's going to do is just create a higher share base kind of a thing. You know what I'm saying? So if that 100 million market cap's getting scooped up as soon as it dips below it, right? And everybody wants to get in under what the institutions did. So that break it, and then maybe one day retest it and bounced off the 250 or something like that. That would seem logical, but hey, I'm just an evangelist, you know what I mean? Retardo moneymaker over here.
Retardo moneymaker. Okay. All right, let's move on to site of the week, I think. Oh, beautiful. Is my thing lagging a bit?
A tad.
Actually,
teeny bit.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Before I move on, actually, I completely forgot the sponsors of today's episodes.
Whoa.
Oh no, and the whole eVTOL news. I always have this in the background. Guys, I'm sorry. We're slacking here a little. This was supposed to be the background for eVTOL news, brought to you by BrightCat Data, sponsor of the episode. Go to BrightCat Data. Oh, Oh, we need to fix this. We need to fix this whole thing up. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry, guys. So, yeah, Breakhat Data, sponsor of the show, Canadian Real Estate Data Intelligence. Check them out. The other sponsor is Celebrity Diamonds. Looking for top and cheap retail wholesale price, real jewelry, real custom jewelry sold anywhere. Diamonds, gold, whatever you want. Go to celebritydiamonds305.com. Thank you for sponsoring the show.
Bling bling.
Bling bling. Yes. Oh my God. I should maybe buy a hover, like a diamond chain or something. Or
Like a
gold.
Jesus piece. Yeah, you want to get that hover Jesus piece, X7.
That would be cool. Maybe when hover does hit $20, guys, I will buy something from Celebrity Diamonds. Damn, I'm still lagging. This is extremely annoying. Let me see if I can. Were you there? No. Oh my gosh, I don't know what this
Just
lag
push
is about.
through, bro. We're towards the end. Just push through.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Boom.
We are gonna share. We're just gonna share it. Site of the week. We have here Doroni. Doroni. I've talked about this company before. Let me refresh. I've talked about this company. I've never shared the website. We talked about them when they had this unveiling of this video right here in the background of their aircraft. And why am I showing this? It actually is a very nice website. I think it's nice. The hero, the first thing you see on the website, let me unshare that so you can see everything. So without scrolling on the website, I just really like already. First of all, they have this little chatbot assistance here, which is very clean. I like the look of the chatbot. Smart. They have this little pop-up for a newsletter. Nice little touch. Simple. You have a video of what they're doing. Very simple. Flight is freedom. You know, not too much text going on. Even the logos here, down here, it's not taking up the entire screen, the width of the whole thing. And then you have here up top, you know, investment round is open, pre-order, all these extra little like news that they want to pop out at you. Nav bar, super small, super simple, looks very premium. I love this site. It's great. Now, why I also am showing this is because I actually like the company. I like their aircraft and what they're doing. But more so than that, they're pretty close to me. They're like 30, 45 minutes out from my house. And I am planning to go visit them.
That's right. You told me about that. That is exciting.
Yes, the time frame is a little bit unscheduled still. It's possibly sometime this week or maybe next. Let's see. Hopefully this week. But then I have to edit the video and stuff. So I don't know when the full tour is going to come out, but I'm going to be visiting them, their facility, touring, talking to their CEO possibly. And you know, and getting inside the damn aircraft actually and seeing this whole thing in real life. So that'll be really cool. I'm super excited about that. So that's the main reason they're the site of the week, to announce that. But actually they have a really cool site, so that they at least make up for that, which I really, there's honestly no complaints. Their site is really nice. The only complaint is on mobile, it isn't the same, but it's still really nice on mobile. And it's maybe just a little bit slow, but that's because they have a lot going on, a lot of videos, a lot of like animations. So just going to scroll here a bit to share about the site, but I really like it. So let's go actually to H1X. This is their aircraft. Beautiful, honestly, a stunning looking aircraft. I showed this to my parents too. They thought it was beautiful. And I showed them Archer and Joby's as well. I mean, this is uncomparable. Like, this is just way cooler. Like, when we're talking about flying cars, this is what people are excited about. I also really like their company because other than the aircraft that I think is awesome, and by the way, they have fans in wing. They have patented fan and wing technology. Of course, it's different than hovers, but you know, they are doing some things right, let's just say. And other than that, they're focused on autonomy and focus on a whole user interface, which they call Soul AI. I also love this little whole segment here. You like can hover over all these little things and see. They even have a parachute. They're adding a parachute to their aircraft. Soul AI is their advanced like it's almost like a Tesla screen for navigating the. Here, let me just get into it. I'm not gonna share everything on the website, but some things are really cool. So yeah, Soul AI, let's see if they have good pictures of it. There we go. This is how it looks like. I shared it on one of the last lives. Imagine your standard cockpit has like thousands of buttons. I don't know how Mark Berry flies. Thousands of buttons. How do you remember what they all do? Do you even need them all? Some things should just work with each other themselves, So they have an AI that, navigates, does everything kind of for you. You put where you're going. You even have a joystick kind of to navigate yourself. But if you get too close to where you're not allowed to go, it will move. If you get too close to another flying car, it will move. They have like a whole thing to it. They're trying to actually focus on the actual flying experience while also building the aircraft. And that kind of goes hand in hand because, they're able to do it very well if they're able to build the aircraft and build the experience versus doing two things separately, like two different companies. It doesn't sometimes work well and integrate well. So I really respect that. I think their approach is very novel. I don't really see anyone kind of focused on what they're doing with the Soul AI part of it. And yeah, I just actually really like this company. So I'm super excited that they're letting me go visit them and very excited to share with you guys what they have. I will say, of course, they're not a public company, but they are investable, as it says. They do have an open round. The minimum investment, though, is $1,000. That's how these things are. You can't just invest a few bucks. But it's actually quite low. A lot of times the minimum investment rounds for a lot of these private rounds could be like $25,000, $50,000. So, if anyone listening actually likes this company, you can just buy in with as low as $1,000. And yeah, I think that's kind of enough for this one.
Did the CEO reach out to you? Because you're going to go, because they reached out to you, right?
No, I reached out to them.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. People don't know me really.
If Matan does a damn good CEO interview, though, anybody here that is a CEO or it works for a company that has a CEO that might want to communicate their message to the people, I highly recommend you tell them about Matan, because Matan, he'll do a damn good CEO interview.
Thank you. I actually have some good questions, I think, prepared for them. I hope I get to everything because I don't know how the dynamic of it will be, how I'll ask questions, because I also want to just explore the aircraft and like see the whole thing and hear from them. But yeah, we'll kind of do some question and answering thing. I'll try. So also, if you guys in the chat have any questions that you want asked, let me know. And maybe if it's a good enough question, I will ask Deroni for you. And yeah. I would say if you guys are interested, check out their website and more so check out their I presented it on the last time. Check out their unveiling of the aircraft, the H1X. It was an awesome unveiling. Very, very cool. And you can learn a lot more of like what they're actually all about. And then you might have questions that you might want to know. I think that's what helped. I watched the unveiling and I had like 5 questions that I wrote down from that. And hopefully I get some good answers. But yeah, awesome company, awesome website. Super excited to share more about that when I get the tour completed and edited. Hopefully that will be a really cool video. So that's pretty much it.
What are you excited for? What are you excited for this week?
That.
What day is it?
Actually, a little bit more. I'm going to Orlando.
What day is the Deroni thing again?
Possibly Thursday, but TBD. It might not be Thursday. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But until I edit it and all, let's see.
What else are you excited for?
And then we also have a lot. We're doing live every weekend, as you guys know. We don't know if next week is Saturday or Sunday. But Anthony and I pretty much already have next week's agenda planned, which is quite interesting and rare because we always have the agenda ready like a day before because, I got to wait for the week to pass and what's going on in the week. But we kind of already have an agenda for next week. It might even grow bigger as more news might come out this week. So we'll see how the week goes. But yeah, other than that, I'm just excited for the Deroni interview, really. And and the HOVR meetup when we get to $20, and then also a tour and another podcast with Brandon would be awesome. Possibly in the summer we talked about because if I am going up, looking to do it with Mark Berry possibly, and with his aircraft is the goal. because otherwise I would have to fly on a commercial plane to like a regular airport, and then that's like a 2-3 hour drive from Hover's facility. But if we can take Mark Berry's plane, that would be awesome. But it isn't FIKI certified, so I can't go in the winter. So summertime, we're looking to do a Hover tour. Don't know when. I'll have to reach out back to Brandon and figure the date out actually and coordinate with Mark. But the time is getting close, so I am excited for that. I don't know. What else? What are you excited for?
Oh, thank you for asking. That's very cordial of you.
That's why you asked. You wanted me to ask you. I'm sorry. It took a while. I gave you a long answer.
So Vaz, big EVTOL bull, he interviewed Brandon. He dropped that like 8-minute thing with the helicopters and the Brandon little caveats in there. He's going to drop 2 more of those, he said, as the recent time goes on. So that'd be cool. That'd be some good Hover eatings right there. You know what I'm saying? So if you're hungry for Hover, that might fill your appetite right there, because anytime Brandon speaks, the present time situations get elucidated, and so I'm looking forward to Vaz. Big fan of Vaz's program. What else? Yeah, Hover's going to do its thing. Oh, how shall I forget? The unveiling of the institution. The paperwork's going to come out, tomorrow, whatever. We're going to find out who's loading up. That's going to be fire. Everybody's going to be like, hot damn, hot dog.
To clarify, what are you talking about? The 20 million that we talked about, we're going to know who purchased that. That's exciting. Yeah, let's see who it is and what they're about and why. If they mention anything on why they bought it, would be really cool. Do they have to disclose like some statement?
I'm not sure. The proof might be in the pudding of just whom it is. If it's an investment organization, that's that. If it's somebody that's, got their hand in something else, well, then, intention always precedes action. So at least when it's smart, right? Other thing too, what you said about we got the game plan a little bit more locked and loaded. Like we already know what next episode is going to be about, which is kind of cool. Which reminded me of that cool thing that like insanity or being nuts is like completely focusing on the present and stuck in the past. But like a thing is what it is because somebody thought in the future, right? Battle plan, right? Push, drive, execute. You envision a future and you drive towards it, right? That's sanity. And that's ingrained in a lot of administrative things, like writing a battle plan in the military and knowing what you're doing, or jotting down some notes of your game plan for the day. But future's where it's at, baby.
I guess since you asked, I'm also excited, as I mentioned, for that Brandon Robinson interview to be released from eVTOL Insights, where he got the award, the picture I showed earlier. I'm excited for that. Hopefully that's released this week. But yeah, we had a pretty good, fun episode today. That was quite a lot. I gotta make some clips maybe. We've got quite an exciting one for you guys next week then. I think that's a wrap. We are over 2 hours.
And big shout out to Death Smiles, because the maxim of knowledge is power can't be overstated. People get shaken out, get worried, sweating their portfolios and stuff. But that that's the dope. That's the straight dope right there. Like Death Smiles hit the nail on the head. Dilution Delusion.
That's right. A lot of fun. Thank you, Anthony. Co-host, Hover Evangelist, Retardo Moneymaker, Anthony. And that was a lot of so much
Ricardo.
Fun,
it's Ricardo Moneymaker, man. You know what I'm saying?
Ricardo. All right. Thank you all for joining and chatting with us. Big shout out to Deke Jackson, Rezo, Crispy, and everyone who chatted all along. Ben.
Deep Jackson. I was messaging with that cat on Goat Gains. Another top G. Goat Gains. I like my man Goat Gains. Goat Gains knows what's up. You know what I'm saying? He does the good hover content too. But I was messaging with that cat on his comments, and he was like, I'll check it out. So thank you for being a man of your word, Mr. Deke Jackson. And then I saw that you were like, yes, I will load up on Hover. Congratulations. You were at the right time at the right place. But I'm not a believer in coincidences. I believe our, destiny is self-dictated. I believe that luck is a scientific, mathematically formulated concept of clean hands equals happy living. And, you stay positive, put a good positive frequency out into the universe, boom, you get that back. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, diamond hands, diamond heart, nothing but love. Everybody keep up the good work. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be goddamn rich. You know what I'm saying? Brandon Robinson, whole crew, Phil Kelly, any of you HOVR Horizon guys that are watching this, because I would, you know what I'm saying? If I was playing for the Buffalo Bills football team and I dropped the pass or caught the touchdown, I'd be checking out highlight reels. I'd be like, what did ESPN say about me? What did ESPN say about me? You know what I'm saying? So I'd be checking it out. So, hey, Phil Kelly, Tim, all y'all, Brian, killing it, Brandon, EVTL GOAT, you know what I'm saying? My man's out there, you know what I'm saying? So thank you very much. Keep up the good work. Matt Chesler, love you. Keep it up.
Jake Chance, thanks for joining. We are just about to end the stream here. We'll catch you next time. Deke Jackson, send us a video of you eating garlic. Would be awesome. Let's show that. Anyone else who wants to send a video of doing some garlic eating, that would be awesome. But or if anyone wants to join, have any news for us, join the stream ever, let us know. Trying to grow this and do more fun stuff like this every week. Like you guys saw, we had all sorts of different topics today, but all around HOVR. And
check out the Reddit. Check out the Reddit. Go on the Reddit. It's very informative. Death Smiles sprinkle on it with mic drops and information bombs all over the place. A lot of smart guys in there. Horizon Aircraft has a lot of smart investors. If you want to use that as a yardstick, right? These guys aren't Win Lambo. These guys deep dive. You know what I'm saying? So check it out. It is quite impressive.
And join the Discord in the link below. If anyone here is not in the Discord yet, it is not exclusively about HOVR, but most of the chat is about HOVR. But we also do have some SCWO folks and some other folks, but mostly about HOVR, as that's pretty much what we talk about here on the show all the time. So yeah, thank you guys so much. This was very fun, long live stream. We'll catch you next week. And until next time, as always, stay thinking, question everything, and peace out.
Let's go, Brandon.